In its quest to provide an open forum for discussion of controversial issues, this station allows hosts and their guests to express themselves without any significant censorship. You're advised that any views expressed by the hosts or their guests are not necessarily the views of Togi Entertainment or its partners.
Motherhood Incorporated proudly presents Military Mom Talk Radio live on TogiNet.com. Co-hosted by Robin Boyd and Sandra Beck, the owner of Motherhood Incorporated. Military Mom Talk Radio is here with a powerful platform for women to discuss their ideas, issues, and concerns with respect to the military lifestyle. Military Mom Talk Radio encourages you to share your experiences of being a military wife and mother. This show is dedicated to educating your family about the many resources that are available in both the public and private sector, and we'll be sharing helpful information from women all over the world. We'll cover everything military, from helping a family member cope with post-traumatic stress disorder, to navigating government programs dealing with family issues, to the struggles of deployment, along with being a working mother both in and out of the home. This is Military Mom Talk Radio, and here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey mamas, this is Sandra Beck and I'm here with Robin Boyd, and we've got a great show today. We are going to take a little break from the military charities and we're going to bring on a global children's charity with the CEO and founder, Harry Liebowitz, which is super fun, Rob. I can't wait for that one.
Awesome.
And then we're going to welcome Joyce Faulkner of Military Writers Society of America. She's the president, and she's going to talk about subsidy publishing.
That's interesting. I can't wait to hear. Joyce always has the most wonderful things to talk about, but that's going to be really interesting. Very, very helpful.
It is, especially because it's so confusing these days. You know, I run into a lot of authors, because of the radio show, and people always ask me, like, do you get an agent? Do you try to get a publishing contract? Do you self-publish? Do you subsidy publish? And all these terms are new in the last 5 years.
Absolutely, because, boy, all journalism has changed with the more digital applications and more publication, with self-publication opportunities. Even traditional publishers are going about things a little bit differently, different options that one has to choose from. So it's really helpful to have someone like Joyce able to come on, or not just like Joyce, we do have Joyce, to come on.
We have the fake Joyce coming on today.
After I say that, I always say I don't mean that. It's like saying, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed what. Well, if you can't tell me, then don't say anything. You can tell me how much you enjoy something. Oh, well, anyway, I guess I'm being silly.
Speaking of can't say anything, I have to tell you the funniest story that happened this week. We have a couple military families on our street. We've got an Army and Air Force and Marine, which is really fun to have, one of each branch represented. And one of the moms was gone overseas to see her husband, and she came back, and she had put on quite a bit of weight, and everybody on the street thought she was pregnant, and nobody said anything until we're at football practice and all the kids are playing, and the coach walks over because they're doing, summer drills, and he's like, "Hey, so-and-so, when's it due?"
Oh, no.
And, we're all smiling. And she was about 400 shades of red. I mean, we all wanted to drop through the floor because she's like, "I'm not pregnant." I mean, there was nothing anyone could say. We just sat there in sudden silence, and we like ball anyone.
Yeah. Oh, the poor dear.
I thought it was funny because it's one of those things where you just don't know, and you don't know what to say, and you say it, and your intention is well, and then it's not.
Yeah, I know. I liked being 9 months pregnant and someone saying, "When's it due?" And I'll say, "I'm not pregnant." That was me.
That's really funny. It makes me want to have their baby just to do that.
I know. I couldn't help it. It was just me. That's just my twisted sense of humor.
That is awesome. So, Rob, I'm going to tell everybody your deep, dark secret about 18 years and not leaving your house. So tell us what you did this weekend, which was really a landmark.
It was. Well, for those who don't know, I take care of my mom, who is a frail elder. She's going to be 88 years old, July 10th. Is her birthday, and she's had a stroke. She had a stroke in 1994, and I've been her caretaker ever since. So we have had many little jaunts in the meantime, but I have not had respite care, and I guess I should take that back. She was in the hospital for a time, about a couple of weeks or so in that midst. So in a sense, I didn't have her here, but I was still sort of on call in case something happened at the hospital. But my daughter took me out for the weekend. She brought me to Vermont, and we did a facial, and we walked Burlington, and we had a girls' weekend, and it was just so wonderful. So thank you to my lovely daughter, Emily Poirier, and her wonderful husband, Ryan, and his family was there, and we all had dinner together, and it was just wonderful. So I love you, Em. If you're listening, I love you, hon, and thank you. We had a wonderful time.
Well, and I just think it's an amazing testament to all caregivers. You know, I know we have some respite care available in certain circumstances, you know, when family members are on deployment. And it's just so important that our caregivers, and this is why I wanted to bring it up today, Rob, you know, 18 years you cared for your mom with only a hospital break?
Correct. 18. We've been here for 18 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, if you are eligible for respite care, even if you're not, go and ask for it again. You know, just keep trying to get the respite care that's available to you. Because, and you know, Robin, and we're not going to divulge anything negative here, but you had an experience recently, the one that actually started this radio show. You know, when I was down in Pendleton seeing some of my girlfriends, and they were all huddled over this awful photocopied excerpt from a textbook about PTSD, and we're all scratching our heads going, you know, and we're educated, you know, women, and we can't figure it out. And, you know, I was horrified, and that's what led to the creation of Military Mom Talk Radio, to deliver, you know, current, timely information. You had a similar experience.
I know. We had someone go over to the VA, and he is in his early 60s and had wanted more information because he just assumed. And this is something that might kind of lead into another tidbit that I was going to mention as we were chatting today. Because he is an older veteran, considered that there weren't services for him anymore, that he did not have services available to him. And he was encouraged to go and say, yes, you should go and check out what PTSD benefits might be available, or what services might be available to you. And he did. He got the dreaded Xeroxed upon Xeroxed upon Xeroxed upon Xeroxed letter about what PTSD is, and go and see your physician. And it's very unfortunate that we have to go take what they say. You're going to them for help, but yet you kind of have to navigate the resources, because it's not easy sometimes to find the right resources for you. So therefore, our show, for example, is one that we do try to dedicate to finding the resources. If you don't get it at one location, you're going to have to go and maybe find another resource, or find a different approach to get what you need, because there are services and there are opportunities, and don't take the first no. Make sure that you are persistent, and make sure that you get whatever help it is that you are looking for. And
absolutely, Rob. It's imperative that people fight for their benefits. They fight for the services they're available. And it's like calling the airlines. Don't take no for an answer. Just keep going and asking until you get the yes, because the monies are available. The programs are there. We know that they exist because we've had people on the show from them saying that these are available, but you have to push. You know, the reality of today is you got to push.
And it was funny because he came home with a piece of paper, and the first thing I thought of was you. And to boot, it was this brilliant pink piece of paper. And I wish I had been able to go with this person to be able to say to the office that he was at, saying, "Whoa, no, this is not acceptable." To be able to kind of fight back and say no. So I'll have to get back with this fella and see if we can't get a little more direct information for what he was looking at. But the reason why I wanted to bring it up, San, is that with the 4th of July coming up, there are a lot of events coming up, and many of them are going to give discounts to people of the military. For example, right out your way, Anaheim Orange County, for example, AnaheimOC.org. There's a lot of deals and opportunities and events coming up this week, and if you show them your military card, you're going to get a discount. And I wanted to make sure people really thought about that. Even if you are a veteran, for example, if you have your Veterans ID military card, you can go to places like Lowe's and get a military discount. My husband did that recently. He was like, "Oh, I'm not active anymore. I probably am not going to get a discount, but it still is applicable." So I encourage people to make sure that you check online. There's a whole slew of things that I found around the bend going through Google. Lots of stuff going on this week. And when you get a holiday in the middle of the week the way this one is, you don't want to travel. You might not have the whole week off. So you start looking around your local area and see what you can find. And there's a ton of stuff going on this week, Sam.
There is. And, we used our military discounts. I had our friends in from Okinawa. We used the military discounts over at Hurricane Harbor with Six Flags. I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask. And, the one thing that, and Rob, I'll let you close out the segment in a sec, but one of the things I wanted to say is that photographed piece or photocopied piece of paper that Robin received and the photocopied piece of paper that I received, if anybody in our military and the services are listening today, this happened 3 years apart. Robin's happened recently. Mine happened, 3.5 years ago when I formed this show. And in California and New Hampshire. So we know that there's something going on that we need to change with the way that we handle our requests.
Absolutely. So hopefully if we have more information out there for all of you, more information will make you all the more powerful. So speaking of someone really powerful, on the other side of the break, we're going to meet someone who is a powerful, powerful person for children. Harry Liebowitz is the founder of World of Children. We're going to meet him after the break. Here come the tunes.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Everyday Autism Miracles with Shannon Penrod. Friday afternoons at 2, 1 Central on TogiNet.com. Life after an autism spectrum diagnosis doesn't have to be difficult. It can be joyful, happy, and filled with hope. Join Shannon Penrod, author, speaker, coach, and mom of a 6-year-old recovering from autism for this inspirational hour of hope. She's even authored a series of children's autism books with her son, Jim. For more information about the books, Shannon, and Everyday Autism Miracles, go to her website, shannonpenrod.com. From there, you can also get to her other websites, blogs, and connections. On Everyday Autism Miracles, you'll hear stories from parents whose children have made miraculous strides. You'll also get the inside dish on therapies, treatments, supplements, and how to get funding to help you afford them. Miracles abound in the autism community. So tune in for Everyday Autism Miracles to listen, share, laugh, and surround yourself with hope. Everyday Autism Miracles with Shannon Penrod. Friday afternoons at 2, 1 Central on TogiNet.com.
Wondering how to market, where to invest, where to advertise, where to find the right advice, or what to do about taxes? Doing business today is a complex venture, and that's where All Biz Talk comes in. All Biz Talk helps businesses and individuals find the right path to their success and learn more about the ideas, products, and services used by today's top professionals. Success leaves clues, so if you want to be successful, it's always best to listen to the people who have already been where you want to be. Our hosts are unbiased and will ask the hard questions, taking your calls to help connect you with the right professionals, people who can help you get a better handle on your personal and business choices. All Biz Talk is not a financial services company and does not offer any financial advice, but we will help you make the right choice when it comes to planning your financial future. Join All Biz Talk Tuesday afternoons at 1 Pacific, 3 Central at allbiztalk.com.
Put a boot in your ass, it's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd, and we've got a great show today. We've got Harry Liebowitz coming up from World of Children. He's going to be on with us for a couple segments, and then we're going to round out the show with Joyce Faulkner talking about subsidy publishing. But before we do that, Robin has a quick shout-out that she'd like to do for someone special.
Well, I do. We have an awesome announcer on Military Mom Talk Radio. You hear his voice every week, and he is a regular listener of Military Mom Talk Radio, as well as being our announcer, Joe Karras from Massachusetts and New Hampshire. He's now from New Hampshire. We're lucky to have him up here. I just wanted to say hi to Joe.
Well, thanks, Joe, for making such a great announcement for us every week. We like to listen to your voice. You actually make us sound really powerful.
I think so, too. He's great. He's been in broadcasting for years, and he's a great guy. And he was very, very kind to do our voiceovers and our bumpers and our open and closing. So thanks, Joe, and we are glad you're a part of our show.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thanks, Joe. So, Rob, I'm going to bring on Harry Liebowitz. And for those of you that aren't familiar with him, I think he's a super guy. He's the father of a very, very dear friend of mine. And so we're going to say hello to Celine and Keon, who hopefully are listening today. But Harry is part of World of Children. And I'm just going to go put the mic right over to Harry because I think he can explain what World of Children does better than anyone. I've been involved in it for, 5 or 6 years. I think what they do is outstanding in every aspect of what they do. Harry Liebowitz, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate being here.
So, Harry, what is World of Children?
Well, I think in the simplest way, we describe it as the Nobel Prize for child advocates. That's what the press calls us, and it really helps to focus people's attention on exactly what we do. So just like Nobel searches the world every year to find the best and brightest in chemistry or biology, and Pulitzer searches the world every year to find the best and brightest in poetry and literature, we search the world every year to find those people doing the best work on behalf of children wherever they are in the world.
And Harry, that's so important because your awards change lives. I mean, we have a lot of different charity groups that come on the show that do a wide variety of things, but I haven't found anyone that has such a huge impact, a huge global impact as World of Children, because you serve the entire planet.
Yeah, there are a couple of things that are rather unique about what we do. First of all, most charities, most organizational charities are issue-based. That is to say they're about, let's say, education or food or fresh water. We aren't. We are cohort-based, which means we're based on anything affecting children, anything. The reason for that is that the issues affecting children are different from country to country and from time to time. For example, today in America, we're very focused on this issue of overweight children. Tell that to the children who are starving in Somalia. You know, very different issues in very different parts of the world. The second thing that makes us distinctive is that we focus on the entire world. We don't just focus on America or Afghanistan or Africa. We have had so far 96 people we've honored from 51 countries around the world. And we've touched the lives of an estimated 20 to 30 million children. We have given away close to $5 million in grants to these organizations for their work with children, and we have provided about an equal amount of support services to them.
Now, Harry, what are some of the things that you see as trends in what people need? I mean, are we just talking about food and clothing or water? Are we talking about education? Let our listeners know from a global perspective, because you're probably the only one I know who could answer this question. What do we need as a global population?
You know, I wish I could give you one easy answer, but unfortunately that's not the case. The issues affecting children today are so broad and varied. For example, in many third world countries, and even some of the now first world countries that used to be third world, like India, education, especially for girls, is a very big problem. Education is a problem for everyone, but in those environments, 60% of the children who don't go to school are girls. So it's a major problem. Then you have the problem of illness and disease, a lot of it caused by the lack of fresh water, by other factors such as war, famine, and so on. But to me, one of the biggest, most heinous problems facing children, and this one is a global problem, from here in the United States all the way across the world, and it's child slavery and child sexual slavery. There are an estimated 6.5 to 7 million children around the world today who are considered to be in sexual slavery. And believe it or not, according to the Centers for Disease Control here in the United States, it's estimated that there are 300,000 children currently in forced sexual slavery. So it is a global problem, and it is one of the most heinous of all problems because it robs children of their youth. And by the way, I know we think primarily of sexual slavery relating to girls, and about 80 or 85% of it does. But the recent observations, the recent guilty verdicts in the Sandusky trial and the Monsignor Lynn trial and the admission of a teacher at that academy in New York to having molested young boys brings to the fore the fact that young boys are not immune to sexual predation.
Now, Harry, is this something that's new? You know, because we're hearing about it in the news. You know, I'm on the nominations committee for your charity, so I get to read some of these nominations. I get to read first and foremost, you know, what's happening with our young people. And I got to tell you, every year it's the most satisfying thing I do. It's also the most heartbreaking thing I do. Are we just getting more aware of these situations? Have they gone on for a long time, or are we as a population changing?
Again, I'm sad to say that this has been going on since recorded time. If you go back and read some of the ancient texts, whether they're Socrates or Aristophanes, or you go back to the biblical works, you read about historical trends in the Middle East. Predation on children has been an issue throughout history. Unfortunately, in our society, especially here in the United States, we believed that after the Civil War and the freedom granted to those people who had been in slavery, that the issue disappeared. We honestly don't want to hear about it. And I'll tell you one example. CNN, as you may know, has a program that's been going on for well over a year called the CNN Freedom Project. Here in the United States, you rarely see anything about it on the CNN TV network. In Europe, it's on almost every night. Why? When I ask the people at CNN, they tell me the people in the U.S. don't really want to watch it. You know, our ratings go down to the floor when we put those things on. So the answer is a difficult one. It's something that has gone on. Slavery has been around forever. There are estimated to be over 30 million people in slavery around the world, adults and children. So it is not something new. And but we, as a society, are more aware today because of the availability of communications, 24-hour networks, the Internet, things like your program, raise awareness to these things, and that has created a new opportunity for us as a caring and privileged society to take action against it.
So what do you recommend for our listeners at home? How can they help? How can they get involved? I mean, I know we have this problem in our schools. We see it, you're right, 2 minutes on the news and it's gone. And what do we do as a population? We are rich, we are privileged. What can we do to make a difference?
I think there are a few things. Number one, the first thing everybody should do is should tune themselves in to this issue. A lot of people just aren't tuned in, and their children or children around them are abused, and they just don't see it. We just can't believe it, so we don't see it. You have to be aware of your own children. When a child becomes sullen all of a sudden, or a child becomes anxious, or a child becomes angry, or a child starts to either overeat or undereat, these are signs that something is wrong, and it's not always sexual or predation. It could be bullying, but there are many things, and that's when a parent and the school people and the counselors have to become sensitized. You can't let that go unnoticed and uncared for.
Harry, on the other side of the break, I'd like to know a little bit more about how you reach out globally. If you are recognizing so many areas where people have done marvelous things for our children of the world, you must have an extremely large network of sensory feelers to be able to find all of these opportunities. So we definitely want to find out a little bit more about how you do your outreach. It's a wonderful thing that you're doing, and we want people to know a lot more about World of Children. I want to make sure that we let everybody know they can find out information at worldofchildren.org. You're going to find lots of information there about the organization, about the past honorees, and a little bit more about how their outreach has really impacted the lives of they're estimating about 30 million children, which is just phenomenal. If you missed the earlier part of our show or any of our shows, you'll want to tune into militarymomtalkradio.com and find our podcasts. You can always find our podcasts at iTunes and right here on our show page on TogiNet. As I say, on the other side of the break, we'll hear more from Harry Liebowitz and World of Children. I'm so sorry, Harry.
Not to worry.
Tongue-tied, saying it too fast. We'll be back in a moment.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
The Mary Beth Wells Hour is a talk radio show where we reach out, reach deep, and talk about topics of substance. We'll cover points of interest, such as World War II and the Holocaust, the Vietnam War, the planets and the oceans, skydiving, rock climbing, and much, much more. Join me every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as we delve into and discuss fascinating subjects. It's a program to pique your interest for sure.
Second chances. We all deserve them, and we are all worthy of them. Second Chances with your host, Midge Noble. Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central on TogiNet is like coming home to warm, fresh-baked cookies, a hug from Grandma, or an enthusiastic greeting from your dog. Second Chances, hosted by Midge Noble, a licensed professional counselor, is affirming, warm, genuine, validating, and thought-provoking. Second Chances is a place to be heard, a place to laugh, a place to cry, and a place to be seen. For more on Midge and Second Chances, check out MidgeNobleSecondChances.com. Then be a part of a show that will change how you think, how you feel, and what you do. Give yourself the gift of second chances and see where it will take you. So take a deep breath, open your heart, open your mind, and join host Midge Noble for Second Chances, Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
There ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com, covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd and Harry Liebowitz of World of Children. And for those of you listening, check it out, worldofchildren.org. It is the Nobel Prize for children's charities and advocacy groups around the world. Harry had thrown out some great numbers. What did we have, Harry? 91 honorees in 50, I can't remember, 50-something countries?
96 honorees in 51 countries in 14 years. This is our 15th anniversary year.
That is astounding. I mean, how do you reach 51 countries? I didn't even know there was 51 countries, which shows what our education system is doing here in the U.S.
There are over 190 countries in the United Nations right now. The fact of the matter is what we do is we have open nominations from January through April, and the call for nominations is distributed online. It's distributed through UNICEF, through the Global Movement for Children, through the International Youth Foundation, and many, many other child-centric charities. This year we received almost 1,000 nominations. We have 3 categories of awards, and this year we'll honor 4 people out of those 1,000, just under 1,000 who were nominated. What really distinguishes our honorees from anybody else is the way they're selected. This is not a process by which Harry and his team select a few winners. We have, like you, Sandra, over 120 people around the world who review these nominations and vote on them. But the most significant part of what we do, and we're the only granting organization in the world that does this, before somebody can be honored by the World of Children, we hire, at our expense, one of the largest private investigative agencies in the world to go out and do an intensive investigation on this person and their charity to make sure they are who they say they are, that they're above reproach, that they're doing the work they said they're doing, so that if you want to help somebody, you can feel 100% confident that the people we've honored are the real deal. Today, so many people are inured to giving charity because they've heard about money that went to Haiti that disappeared, that went to Pakistan that disappeared, that went to Katrina and disappeared. That never happens with World of Children honorees.
Oh, I was going to ask, Harry, do you always give to an individual, or do you give to any organizations?
We never give the money to an individual. We honor the individual for having the foresight, the leadership, the courage to do what they're doing, but all the money goes to their charity for children. We never give the money to an individual. We're not allowed to, actually, by IRS standards.
Well, that's interesting, and I'm glad that we brought it up because I want people to realize that.
Yes, it's
now,
a very
Harry,
important
how
characteristic.
does, you get this award, you get a monetary award, you get flown to New York, you get honored there. What does that mean for the charity after? Everybody gets woohoo, this is the winner, and there's lots of media and there's lots of things. What happens after that?
What happens after that is very important, and what happens there is very important. We have a bifurcated mission. We have 2 missions. One is to find and fund, and the other is to educate and elevate. It's the old, do you give them fish or teach them to fish? We do try to do both. And so one of the most important things we do once we honor people is we put them in our network, and we have a network of honorees around the world that now can communicate with each other, help each other, and we can help them. Let me give you a few very quick examples of what happens. We had an honoree in India who contacted us and said, look, I've just opened a new facility in the north of India. I'm finding thousands of children who are without a leg or an arm or something due to landmines, etc., and we don't have the prosthetic devices. Can you help? We sent out a call to our other honorees and found somebody who was working with an organization in the U.S. that had 30,000 brand new child-sized prosthetic devices that were, quote, outdated. That is to say, by American standards, a new model had come along. But these were perfect. We got them shipped to India. We sent through another charity a couple of doctors over. Today, 30,000 children in India have prosthetic devices that didn't have them before.
Wow.
That happens because of the network. When the Haiti disaster hit, the earthquake, we had 3 honorees in Haiti. They were able to reach out to us and to other honorees for assistance, and not just financial. We had a little girl who, at one of the schools that one of our honorees run, had been hit by a brick, and this is terrible, but it's a true story. Her eye got knocked out, and it was being held in place by a bandage, but it was hanging out. She had 3 days before it would die to get surgery on that eye to restore it. One of our honorees said, get the child to me in Panama. I will do the surgery. The child today has sight in that eye. That's the kind of thing our network does, and people in our network can share best practices. So we talked about child slavery before. We have had 6 or 7 honorees working on this issue in different parts of the world. Before the World of Children, they had no idea what other people were doing. Now they network. They talk to each other. They can communicate. They can share best practices. So their ability to help the children has been elevated, and that's what we're about. We're about funding. We're about elevating. We're about, helping children live a better life. And I want to say this to your audience. It is easy in this issue of children's problems to get into vapor lock. The numbers are overwhelming, Sandra. There are 30 million children in one form of illness or another that don't get treated. There are 13,000 slaves. There are 8 million that die of preventable disease. It's easy to get into vapor lock, but vapor lock is not acceptable. We have to realize that one little hand by one little hand and one little heart by one little heart, we can change children's lives. We cannot solve all the problems. And if there are people out there listening who say, well, solve all the problems, I have to tell them I'm sorry. I can't do that. But we can solve some. And every child that we save, every child, that child could be the next leader for peace in the world. That child could be the next doctor to develop open heart surgery, can be the next person to go to the moon. Every child is valuable.
Well, and Harry, I got to say, you're valuable, because without World of Children being here and networking and providing these things, this was your brainchild, and I know it's probably hard for you to have somebody go, wow, you are my hero. But when I look at what you've done in 15 years, you could have been like a lot of other rich, successful, attractive Americans and gone and jet set it around the world. And I have seen you. I've met you in person. I've seen how hard you work. I know how much this means to you. This is an amazing thing that comes back to you. And I'm going to take a minute to honor you, because when you talk about every child is valuable, who would have thought? Did you ever think when you were 10, 15, 20 years old, running around, having your kids, having your family, that you would ever do something like this, that you would ever have the honor of being at the helm of this kind of charity?
Of course not. I at those points in my life, I was just busy trying to survive. My parents were immigrants to America, and that's what has made this country so great, that people like my parents and grandparents could walk all the way from Eastern Europe across the entire continent of Europe with barely the clothes on their back. that they could get on a ship, that they could come to America, that they could, start a new life from the ground up. Until I was 11, I lived in a bungalow with 10 families, shared one bathroom. But that's what makes this country great, is that people can come here with their dreams, their hopes, their aspirations, and they can, in fact, ultimately lead to the kind of greatness that this country has and will continue to have forever. It's why I love this country so much, and why we, as Americans, we have a responsibility. We are the most fortunate people on earth. And if we do not take action in these issues, who will? I don't care whether you are, somebody working at, $20,000 or $30,000 a year or $300,000 a year. We can all do something. If you can't give money, you can give time, you can give skill, you can go read to a blind child at a hospital. You can do something. And if you want to know where the best ones, if you want to know where the best charities are, the ones that you know are for real, guaranteed, no questions asked, you can go to our website, as you said, www.worldofchildren.org. I want to say one more thing, because I know our time will be up shortly. Mm-hmm. People always wonder what happens to money if I send it in. I will tell you this, another thing that distinguishes us from every other charity in the world is our Board of Governors pays 100% of the overhead of the organization. They pay for the salaries of our staff. We only have 3 full-time people. They pay for our offices. They pay for every piece of overhead. So if somebody sends in $10, $100, $1,000, 100% of it goes to the programs for children. Not one penny goes to pay a salary or a telephone bill or a gas or electric bill. Not one penny.
This is a phenomenal organization, and Mr. Liebowitz, this has been such an enlightening opportunity for us to meet you, to learn more about World of Children. I do encourage everyone to go to the website. There is a place right in the navigation to say get involved. You can get their newsletter. You can find out how to volunteer. Absolutely see that 100% of the donations do go to the children's programming. And there are other opportunities, other ways to honor people. Mr. Liebowitz, thank you for your time. Thank you for all that you've done for the children of our world.
Thank you. I want to just say that we also honor all of the people who serve this country. My wife's family has served this country forever. Her father was a general in the Air Force, one of America's most famous fighter pilots. Her brother was a pilot in the Marine Corps and went down in a plane crash some years ago. Her nephew is currently on his way to Stuttgart. He's a pilot in the Navy and is currently on assignment to Stuttgart, and he and his wife and family are on their way over there. So wow. We are a military family, and we believe in this country, and we believe in the people who serve it. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. God bless you. God bless your family. And we appreciate your time with us. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
We'll be back in a moment with Joyce Faulkner from the Military Writers Society of America.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Okay, we will. We're going to teach you how to tell your money where to go. It's Intelligent Investing with Pam Otten on TogiNet. Learn how to be a savvy investor from someone who has your best interest at heart. Pam Otten is a financial advisor who loves to help successful business owners and entrepreneurs understand the mysteries of the investment world. And she's not afraid to share that knowledge. Pam is an unashamed Christian and qualified kingdom advisor, which means she's trained and committed to integrating biblical principles into her financial advice. Pam believes investing isn't rocket science. This is the financial advisor who's in your corner and truly understands and cares about you and helping you achieve your goals. Securities and advisory services are offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. It's Intelligent Investing with Pam Otten on TogiNet.
Fertility. It's an extremely personal subject. Tune in Monday nights at 9, 8 Central
for the Fertility Forum with infertility psychotherapist and expert Phyllis Martin on TogiNet.com. This is the show about infertility, gaining support, and information. Phyllis will assist you in navigating the disappointments and decisions that often accompany the difficult journey from diagnosis to conception, pregnancy to parenthood. She is passionate about her work and is an expert in the donor egg field, bringing both her personal and professional experience to all she does. Ms. Martin has extensive experience in helping patients cope with infertility, pregnancy loss, adoption, surrogacy, miscarriage, pregnancy termination, and creative family building. She knows what you're going through, and she's here to help. It's the Fertility Forum with your host, Phyllis Martin, Monday nights at 9, 8 Central on TogiNet.com.
Put a boot in your ass, it's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and we finished a great segment, Robin, with Harry Liebowitz from World of Children. You should check it out. 100% of your donations go direct to the charity. They are the Nobel Prize of charities. They award monies to other charities, which I think is such a cool concept. Don't you, Rob?
Absolutely. And I do encourage people to visit the website in that there's a blog area to read. I was just reading, there's a wonderful picture of Harry on a recent post on his blog. Wonderful. This website is just so enlightening. If you heard Harry, you know how enlightening he is. So obviously his website is going to reflect that kind of enlightenment. Wonderful organization.
Well, and I'm going to say something that I'm probably going to get shot for, but, you know, Rob, we get so many charities that come on, and majority of them are started by women. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing to me. You know, I was thinking about Harry today and how, you know, he had cancer when he was 55. He came up with this idea right around that same time, you know, of how to help children. It's pretty rare to see a children's charity conceptualized, operated, and executed by a man. I just think that's I don't see that a lot. I see a lot of chief financial officers, executives in charities, but it's almost always, you know, a mom or a wife or a daughter starting a charity. And I had to note that because I think it's exceptional. And we're going to put the call out to other men to step up to the plate and form some charities.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, speaking of wonderful women, we do have a wonderful woman coming up. We have, and I think we might have lost Sandra. We have a wonderful woman coming up. Joyce Faulkner is the CEO of the Military Writers Society of America. She has brought so many interesting authors to our attention and to our show. She herself is an author. And Joyce, you have been giving us so many amazing insights on why we should even consider writing. Everyone thinks, I don't have a big story to tell. I don't have a lot to say. But everyone's experience is so important. And Joyce, you are really embodying that in all of us, that we do have a story. We do have something to say. We're glad you're with us today, Joyce.
Thank you for having me.
So today we're going to focus on a little portion of once the story is written. We'll assume that we've gotten someone that's got their notes down and got their manuscript together. What is subsidy publishing?
Okay, subsidy publishing is one of the options that you have if you want to participate in the development of your project. And subsidy publishing, I'm going to go through this little routine each time we talk. When you're looking at in terms of risk, traditional, the company takes on 100% of the risk, but they also take on 100% of the reward. Subsidy publishing, you share the risk and the reward with the company and with self-publishing, you take on all of the risks, but you also receive all of the rewards. So that is basically the difference between the three. So what we're going to talk about today are the subsidy companies, and many of you may already be familiar with them. iUniverse, Dorrance, Author House, those kinds of companies. And very often they have partnered with companies like Barnes & Noble or with some of the big printers. And they have on staff designers, editors, marketers, people who can help you put together the package that's necessary. And you pay them a certain amount, but the amount of money that you pay them in no way could complete the expenses that would be necessary to actually publish a book.
I see.
So they are actually sharing that cost with you because they have existing staff. So you would choose a subsidy publisher, probably because they are the easiest. If you are strictly looking at, maybe you've written a cookbook, and if you've written a cookbook, you may have some pictures, you have the recipes, but you might not have the ability to do a book design. You may not know how to distribute the book. You may not know how to promote it. And these companies have staff that will do all of those things for you. And
Joyce, before we go further, what about the editing part that one might experience with a traditional publisher? Will a subsidy publisher help you, or does your manuscript need to be ready, absolutely ready to go, camera ready, so to speak?
If you could do both. What you do is you negotiate or you pick with the company all the services that you will need. If, for example, you have already hired an editor, and I recommend to everybody, do not publish anything without it being professionally edited. The companies do provide that service for you, but you have to pay for it separately.
I see.
So if you have not had it professionally edited and you don't know where to find a professional editor, then pay to have Author House or iUniverse edit it for you. And it's one of the many things that they can offer, and that's why it's a varying price. And you have to pick and choose those things that you need. Maybe you don't have any photographs, or maybe you have all kinds of photographs, but you don't know how to get them into the manuscript. That's where the various companies will offer the different services for you. And I think for most people who are not willing or have reasons why they don't want to go traditional, or they don't have the skill set, or don't want to take on that extra activity, would go with a subsidy publisher. It's there for you, and they have a website, and they also, once you decide to go with them, have someone that will work with you and help you choose what you want to do.
They sound very a la carte. It sounds like they can give you full service or very selective service.
Exactly, and you will see people who have hardcover books that are glossy, that are beautifully done, and they can do that. Or they can do just an ebook, or they can do a small paperback for you. And a lot of it depends on what you had in mind to begin with, where you are in your process, and also what you want to achieve with it.
Do you think that you're going to sacrifice on an end product by doing this kind of a la carte?
It depends on the company that you are working with. The ones that I have mentioned are pretty much considered, the professional staff. They know what they're doing. They know how to create something really nice for you. But also you have to understand that the more you put into it, the better product that you get back. So if you are looking for a glossy coffee table book, for example, you know that you're going to have to pay for color print. You're going to have to pay for the fancy layout. You're going to have to pay for the hard covers. And those things just go in expected that you're going to pay a little bit more for that. However you do it.
I think it's so interesting that there are so many opportunities, and I think any new publisher is probably going to be nervous to not know if they've selected the right services. But on the other hand, I'm hoping that if you're not sure, you should just ask, do I need this or do I need that?
Exactly. And there are other places that you can come online. That's one of the things we do at Military Writers Society of America. If somebody wants to talk with one of our members who's used a particular company or who may have self-published or who may have used a traditional publisher, you will find a lot of different perspectives and ideas and things to be wary of. The most important, and we can't say it enough, is to make sure that you have a product that is ready to go to market, that you're not presenting something that's partially done or something that's not well edited and carefully edited as well. And then the other thing you really need to do is you need to decide, why am I doing this? Am I doing it because I want to get this book out for Grandma's birthday? Am I doing it because I have a company and this book is going to be representing the products that I'm going to sell with my company? Am I doing it because there's a family reunion coming up, and maybe you put all of the family pictures in, and you're putting the history. So those would be reasons why you might go to iUniverse. Is there's a time factor, or there's you don't know where else to go, and you don't want to be in the traditional market where you might not get very much back.
Yeah.
So
Joyce, we've only got a minute, and before the minute goes, I want to make sure people have your website. How can they find out more about you and Military Writers?
Okay, Military Writers, you can go to militarywriters.com. There's an S at the end. If you want to know about me, you can go to joycefaulkner.com. And either way, I'll make sure that you get the right information if you're ready to publish.
That's amazing. Everyone needs to write something. It's just so important for multiple reasons. It's wonderful personally. It's wonderful for future generations. Joyce, thanks so much for being with us. As always, you are a delight, a joy, and amazing.
Well, thank you so much. I'll be talking soon.
We will. We'll hopefully hear from you next month. Next week, though, we have Terry Sloan to talk a little bit about military divorce, a very serious subject. Kate Post to talk a little bit about small businesses, and John Novello, an author with something great to share with us. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye, y'all.